team. Okay. What are they waiting for? Are they going to hold on to him? We're going to know more tomorrow. If he's not released later today or early tomorrow morning, they're probably going to roll through camp with him. They're probably going to roll through camp, maybe limited when it comes to activity for him because they don't want to have him get hurt. But again, nobody in their right mind is going to trade for James Bradbury with the amount of money that's wrapped around the salary. He makes 11.2. Who in their right mind would trade for that? I wouldn't give you a 7th rounder for him. I heard the guys talking, by the way, that Marcus Hayes conversation today was spectacular. And there is a mountain of content that came out of that interview, and I implore you to go back and watch Birds 365 and listen to that interview with Marcus Hayes. Spectacular stuff. He kind of validated everything that I said. His delivery is just different and more of somebody who's talking to folks at Villanova. Where me, I talk to people at a bar. I think that's the difference between us. I thought he was spectacular. Plus his column that he wrote on Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And the untouchable, like I said, Howie Roseman. And he made a great statement that I'm going to cherry pick out of that interview on Jalen Hurts. Okay? Woo! Baby! Of course Sil says people agree with him. How you doing? Hey, by the way, guys, we're great. Please hit the like button. We're going to try to get to 200 likes. Twist says Marcus thinks Carter is a bust. That I disagree with. I did not see bust last year. I did not see bust. Okay? I do not agree with that. So I'll bury the hatchet on that one there. I do not see bust on Jalen Carter. Way. I think he showed too much flashes of greatness. And I think the last 6 games for him as a rookie, I think let me tell you something. When you're a rookie and things start to go to hell, it's hard for a rookie to put his hand up and go, come on, guys, follow me. That's not going to work like that. I don't think he's taken into account where he is on the depth chart when it comes to his years in the game. Okay? I don't think he's taken into consideration that. But again, I love his opinions. One of the very few things that is really good over there. McClain, Sealski, and him, I think are 3 outstanding writers that the Philadelphia Inquirer have. How about Big Sales giving some kudos to some journalists over there? Those 3 guys write really good work. I mean, they're pretty decent on the air. Pretty decent on the air. I'm good with those 3 guys. The rest of them, those 3 guys really do a nice job. Hey, one more time. If you're Devontae Smith, fire your agent immediately. Dude, you look stupid. It just looks stupid now. This has nothing to do with Howie. This has nothing to do with the Eagles. This is the player and his agent. You look stupid. You utterly look stupid. Hey, but I want to be in the... Hey, I get it. To the tune of that much lost revenue? Yeah, Smitty's a team guy. Really? Playing for half? Playing for half the money he could have got? Really? Damn. Talk about stupidity at its finest. Hey, man, it's one thing to take a $5 million haircut. It's another thing to take a $10+ million haircut. When you think CeeDee Lamb's not going to sign for $35 million also? Or $36 million, something in there? Or Jamar Chase? Kid Brown's up to dude, this guy's deal looks awful. It looks awful. It just looks terrible. Justin Jefferson is going to make in excess of $36 million, $35 million. CeeDee Lamb's going to get that as well. How about this? Even if you want to add shit up, it comes out to being where he has a dumb deal. Wait, why does he look stupid for taking a deal to keep the team together? I'll tell you in a minute. So I guess Brady was stupid too. Wait a minute. Quarterback and receiver, totally different and dumb. The quarterback invests in himself because he needs those commodities to have around him. Wide receivers that make gigantic money don't win Super Bowls. How many times have I been telling you that? You should get all the money you could possibly get. You are a position player other than the quarterback. Okay? There's my friend Mark Holmes. Let me and my Game Time Brian come on Wednesday so you and Philly 500 can't double team me. No problem, Hoss. No problem, Big Mark. Bring your guy on. Bring all your Cowboy guys on. By the way, condolences in the passing of Larry Allen. Truly the greatest offensive lineman of all time. Devontae Smith looks stupid signing that deal. Stupid signing that deal. He's freaking happy. Why is he stupid to you? Because he burned a lot of dough. Did you get Marcel's super chat? I sure did. He's freaking happy. Why is he stupid? Because he's taking a massive haircut. What a dumbass deal. Dumb. Get all the money you can. Hey, kudos to the Eagles for taking advantage of Devontae. Way to go, man. I don't blame you. Congratulations. Eagles took advantage of Devontae Smith and his loyalty to the team and his good nature and him being a good teammate. Congratulations, Smitty. Even though you took a $12 million, $13 million pay cut, congratulations. Nice job, kid. How stupid can you get? Holy cow. This guy will never make the money, ever. And he just burned a ton of it. Too bad, man. Hey, kid, you've signed that deal a month ago, and it's already completely outdated. You could have waited at least a little longer, couldn't you? Could have been a year or so. What a shitty deal. All right. Our boy Xander was on with Marcus Hayes. He'll be on with us at 3:30. Gary Cobb will be on with us at 4:30 from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Here we go, baby. I listened to that interview. And I want to give you my takeaways because Marcus Hayes pretty much validated everything I said about two people that you have this year. Are you ready? Nick Sirianni embraces insubordination. What? He embraces insubordination. Brian Johnson and the folks who are putting game plans together. Now we know a little more about the Seattle fiasco. They were changing plays in the huddle from what was called. And Nick was embracing insubordination. Dude, know your role. How can you tell if... No wonder Brian Johnson never had a chance in Philadelphia. Yeah, Bart, because Marcus Hayes wrote a really good column, and we learned more about how Marcus, who's around the team, said that Nick Sirianni embraces insubordination. And that Hurts and the players were calling whatever they wanted at times in games and going off script. It's not your coordinator. It's your players. I don't give a fuck who you hire. This comes down to the players not listening. You know why? Because the coach has no power. It's like in Dallas. They don't listen to Mike McCarthy either. Holy cow. This ain't me talking. This is Marcus Hayes talking, saying that there's no question Nick Sirianni, and I heard it, you got to go back and listen. He endorses and embraces insubordination. Instead of holding people's feet to the fire, don't fucking go off script like that without us knowing where you're going. Not a chance to win. No wonder that thing fell apart. The players fell apart. The players, and you all are blaming the coaches. According to Marcus Hayes, unless I heard that wrong, he put more of the emphasis on the players melting down than the coaches. And Nick endorsed it. This is Marcus saying this. I almost fell off my chair listening to that interview this morning. Nick Sirianni is okay with players in the huddle. Now, look, let's go here for a second. I want a quarterback to be able to take you out of troubles and put you in a position to win. But I'm going to get to that in a minute, too, because Marcus said something else that was vital in this. Holy cow, this has no chance of success. There's no doubt this thing ain't winning more than 7 ball games. No way. No way. No matter how much good talent you had it last year too. It won't matter. Hey, by the way, AJ Owens, I think Marcus has the same take on him as I do. This guy's a disruptive guy. Great player. Yeah, absolutely. You have to go back to Birds 365 and listen to this. I couldn't believe, by the way, you're getting mad at me for one of your sports writers in your town saying this stuff on a platform that they listen to at the NovaCare Center. I didn't say this. I didn't say this. This isn't my words. You can call me all the names you want, some of you in here. This has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Wow. Marcus Hayes said that Nick Sirianni embraces insubordination. Now we're starting to find out a lot more about the way that team's run. Dude, he shredded the owner and the GM. Take my bet, 10 or more wins, or you wear a Browns jersey. Otherwise, you're all... I didn't say this. Twins, I didn't say this. You got me wrong, dog. I didn't say this. Got it. Hey, by the way, go back and listen. That's why we post interviews. Oh, I did say 7 games. He says no chance of success. As long as Nick Sirianni's in the building, not a chance. And by the way, Nick Sirianni is clearly in the building because the owner doesn't like to be wrong like he was about Chip. Hey, it was an education. It was, you know how Xander sometimes puts up their Philadelphia Eagle lesson on organizational and structure of the Philadelphia Eagles 101? That should have been the title of that thing. Because it told you everything you needed to know how the Eagles were run and how one guy who's not afraid in that market to make a point about Hurts, Sirianni, and the head coach and the GM. I was absolutely thrilled to see that. I can't believe that guy still works for the Philadelphia Inquirer. I can't believe the Eagles haven't barred him. I cannot believe it. Wow. What an absolute scalping. Now, I disagree with him on Jalen Carter. Yo, Dan, your word holds more weight than Hayes. That dude has no football intelligence at all. David, he is around the team, though, and they allow him in the building. Wait until it's open season on Barkley. Barb, thank you. Oh, I think that's coming, too. They send Hayes packing, though, from what I've heard. Wow. Nick Sirianni embraces insubordination. Worst thing you can hear that a coach embraces is insubordination, which means he lets the players, no wonder, it was a free-for-all. What did he say about Sirianni's demeanor, too? He's one of the most weirdest dudes on the planet, his press conferences, everything. And it took leadership coming from Jason Kelce to kind of make it into like fun and a joke and not a big deal. That guy's not in the building anymore. Wow, is he going to be missed? What you had was a frat house. That was my takeaway. It was a frat house at the end. And the coach had no control over it because he couldn't fix it. Our president sucks worse than Mozzie. That's quite a super chat. Thank you, 304. Hey, that's quite a super chat. Holy cow, Marcus Hayes! I am a fan. Way to go, dude. I am a fan. Good night. This is must-see TV this year with Eagles, and not for what happens on the field, but how Sirianni implodes the season even worse than last year. DFW, oh, it's worth the price of admission. Crazy, man? Holy cow, man. Dude, you're going to have to get your popcorn, your Coronas, what have you, your margaritas, and you're going to have to pull up a chair to watch this thing, man, because this thing is going to be lit on fire starting week 1 when they get beat by the Packers in Brazil. Holy, dude, this is so unbelievably coming off. This will be off the rails before the season starts because they never fixed it. You think all of a sudden now he's not going to embrace insubordination? Jalen's no leader. Wow. Wait till we make this comment about what he made a comment on Jalen. Woo! Man! Your coach is incompetent. Sign Marcus Hayes. Wow. Nolan Smith had the same amount of sacks as Mozzie. Congratulations. They can go play in the UFL together. Hey, fantastic. Hey, and by the way, I see Marcus gets slings and arrows thrown at him now too, huh? Or aimed at him? Must be doing the right thing. No, not me, Dennis. One of your long-time sports writers. Like the Delta House. Like the Delta House. Yeah, the way that Marcus was talking, the reason why they kept that fool was because the owner doesn't like to be wrong, and he knows that Sirianni is an enabler. He's not really a great coach. He did say this, though. He thinks he's got some skills to be able to be in the locker room and deal with some of the players. Other than that, he's been a horrific play caller and a horrific designer of plays. But then again, it really doesn't matter. You know why? The players don't follow script. Can you imagine that? And now, to answer your question, could Doug Peterson coach Jalen Hurts? No. No. Because you got to follow the rules with Doug. That's how you win. You're organized. You got organized chaos. Shit, we got a ton of shit to hit. Oh, man. Good night. Holy cow. Organized chaos. He thinks Brian Johnson shouldn't have been fired. I've been telling you the same shit. How do you know how good that guy is? Everyone got pay raises. Everybody got pay raises. Got pay raises. Everyone got pay raises. As I said, how could Brian Johnson be that bad when everyone got paid and raised? Contract extensions. How can that possibly be? Game time, Brian. Is that hey, Mark, is that the guy coming on? Hey, Mark, you can bring DFW and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it won't matter. You haven't done dick in 30 years. The Pet Rock and the Chia Pet were more famous than Dallas in the last 25 years. Who are you kidding? The Chia Pet is more famous than the Cowboys in the last 30 years. The Chia Pet. Damn! How about Marcus Hayes going in on your coach? Not really. How about also Howie taking credit for the structure and the culture of the Eagles when Marcus goes, he didn't have anything to do with it. It was Joe Banner. Joe Banner was the guy that put the structure together. Howie likes taking victory laps for other people's work. I started laughing. So you know what he is? He's a plagiarist. Howie Roseman's a plagiarist. He's taking credit for Joe Banner setting up the organization for what it is now in the structure. And Howie, this is my culture. Oh, really? Thank you, Marcus. Damn! Oh, man. Dude, that's one of the best interviews I have ever heard. That's a fake Mark account, Sills. Cowboys fans trying to get someone else on your show. Be wise, bro. Marshall, we'll reach out to Big Mark. You think I'm going to let just some stiff on the program? This is our bastion, my friend. Have no fear. They try to do that shit too on Birds and That guy, Bill Cauliflower, who we used to have on, remember that guy, Bill Cauliflower? He used to come on all the time, and they used to try to do that there too. Big Bill! It never worked because Xander would always double check, so we're good. That's right, man. Woo! Hey, Howie's a plagiarist. Look at this. That's right. Banner's been gone since 14. He sure has. The way, if I'm not mistaken, the interview I heard, the reason you won the 2017 Super Bowl was not because of Howie Roseman. It was because of Joe Banner. That's how I heard it. How come you all want to give Howie the credit that he built that Super Bowl team? Oh, my God. Dude, I was doing this the whole time. I couldn't take notes quick enough. I couldn't take notes quick enough. I'm like, wait. So Joe Banner's the reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 17? He says he built that team. Why is your boy taking victory laps? So does Howie really want to take credit for this shit show? Oh, ho, ho, DFW. We're going to get into that one too. You're the girl from high school that didn't get asked to the prom, so she gossips in a quarter alone. Gee, did you see how he sucks? Okay. It was a great interview. You have to go back and listen to Birds 365 and listen to Marcus Hayes. See, everything he just spent for $5, I didn't say. Talk to me about it. What do I have to do with it? What do I have to do with a credited columnist in your market calling the owner, the GM, and the quarterback out this morning? Let me tell you this, folks. Marcus Hayes could never put that interview on IP or 97.5. Is that it? Whatever it is. Could never have. Bro, the Fanatic, you could probably put that on. You could never put that interview on. Oh my God, Bob Lang would be on a broom if that thing was on IP. Shit, they can't even have a conversation with ESP and Deshaun Jackson asking for an apology. Are you crazy? Something like that where he went all in, knee deep on everyone. I'm not overcooking this. Every time he opened his mouth, and the questions were great. Every time he opened his mouth, it was an indictment. I thought John McMullen was going to have a seizure there. Some of the shit he was saying. Well, I haven't even got to Hurts yet. Because he made the greatest comment about Jalen Hurts. That is so true. And get this, there is no doubt, it's true about him. Big Sills equals BS? I didn't say this. I didn't say this. No one listens to Marcus Hayes? That's not true. You say all you guys want. Say all you want. By the way, get mad at me. What do you get mad at me for? I'm going to admit it to you. This is not my content. This is not my content. Why are you mad at me? He works for the Inquirer. What are you mad at me for? Oh, I know why. Because when I say it too, it will resonate. Always does. Can't wait to get Gary Cobb on, too. And Xander will be on at 3:30. I can't wait to hear what he heard. I couldn't believe it. Mad? Why would I be mad? It's validation and vindication for a guy that's been in the market like 35 years on all the shit that I've been saying. Dude, he doesn't have a very high opinion of Nick. I don't think he's got a high opinion of Hurts. I think he's got kind of a lukewarm opinion of Howie. Some of the things that we talk about with great contract negotiations and all that other shit that he does with cap management, absolutely. But when it comes to personnel, I'm with Marcus. He blows. And then the owner. Oh, this guy was in rare form today. This guy was in rare form. I have to bring this one up now. This is the best comment I've ever heard on Jalen Hurts. Where is this? I want to get it right. And I want to make sure I get this absolutely right. Here it is. Oh, my God. You can't have more of a truer statement than what Marcus Hayes said today on Birds 365 about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not going to lose games because of talent. He's going to lose games because he's not a great quarterback. That is it. It means he's going to win a lot of games. Like Lamar. But they're just not great quarterbacks. That's what I heard. Jalen Hurts can't be the reason the Eagles lose games, and he was a year ago. Marcus Hayes. Started talking about goaltending and NHL and how they pull. I remember when what's his name? The coach of the Flyers pulled Howie Bullen. And I remember when he pulled Howie Bullen, who had just won the Stanley Cup the year before, and put someone else in. And John Tortorella went, the guy's not playing well. He said that guy should have been benched last year. Like I said, there were times you could have benched him. You could have benched him. Jalen Hurts is not going to lose games because of talent. Hurts is going to lose games because he's not a good quarterback. Signed, little bit of paraphrasing, Sills, Marcus Hayes, Philadelphia Inquirer. Great. Oh, and here, now let's bring Roseman and Associates into this. You know why they don't bench Hurts? Why do you think they don't bench Hurts, or why do you think they don't get in his ass? And why do you think they allow insubordination from that player. Why do you think that? Oh, this was brilliant. This guy's brilliant. Brilliant. Why do you think? Well, Wishbone Hurts will be fine. Here's why. Ooh, Howie's taking victory laps about this guy. This is his guy. This is his guy. Yeah. See, I know all the time this guy would be a franchise quarterback. And he is a franchise quarterback. That's why they rushed to judgment giving him the money when I told you they shouldn't have. I agree with Marcus Hayes' look at Hurts and completely subscribe to it. He's a really great athlete, like Xander said last week. But there's a reason Purdy's a better quarterback. Knows how to utilize his weapons. All of them. All the receivers, the running back, the tight end. The play calling head coach knows that too. That's why when they had a guy in there like Trey Lance, he couldn't do it. They got rid of him. This guy was like the third pick. Or they gave up 3 first-rounders for his ass. It's unbelievable. Holy cow. Hey, I think, because I told Xander, this is unbelievable. I don't think he really thought, you could pick everything that he says out of that and listen to it and go, yeah, man, that's exactly what I saw. Remember, guys, here on June 3rd, this is not my content. I'm taking content from our network. I rarely do that. It was incredible. Incredible. He embraces insubordination. A.J. Owens / Brown and Hurts changed Brian Johnson's plays last year, according to Marcus Hayes, and it was notable in the Seattle game. And then, paraphrasing this, when Nick tried to make a comment, Owens threw him under the bus not knowing it. I thought it was something else he said that was totally what I've been telling you, that guy's a fucking liar. The same thing that Marcus Hayes sees that I see in him. His very first press conference about seeing tape on Wentz and him lying about it. If you lie about something so innocuous of that, you'll lie about anything. He's a liar. When he gets in front of a microphone, half of it is half truths. That's why the best guys that say shit are Belichick on to Cincinnati. Coach, what happened? What happened in the game against the Chiefs at Arrowhead? Got to coach better, got to play better. We got to move on now. Cincinnati's coming up, and we got to get prepared. Yeah, but coach, you think you're making a quarterback? We're on to Cincinnati. Instead, you get some fairy tale or some fable lie from your coach. Fredo Sirianni kept his job. You know why? Because he's a phenomenal liar, not coach. Here, take this for what I just said, though. I think the players, to a point, and I think Nick thinks he's doing them a solid for lying for him. and covering for him. I don't think it's out of malice. Like, I don't think Nick is just some asshole going up there lying just to lie, to bring up some sort of fable. And I think he's doing it to cover for his guy, so he'll just say anything. That's actually coming from a good place. But at the end of the day, when you get so caught up in it, on a Tuesday, you're telling everybody how great the coaches are in your building, and then on Friday, you're firing them. Or you're telling me some fable story about Seattle, or you're telling me some lie on your very first press conference about the Wentz. This guy's been lying since he got here. How in the world are you going to not look at this and go, that guy's not qualified to be the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and they win in spite of him? How are you not saying that? How is that not the main headline in your newspapers and across the damn market, that Nick Sirianni is not qualified to be the head coach? Been to 3 playoffs, been to a Super Bowl in spite of you. In spite of you. You know why I think they called Bill Belichick? Because they wanted to get some goddamn authority in the building to hold people accountable. This guy's a bona fide liar. This thing will never look like 22, like I said 2 years ago, ever again. I don't give a shit if you bring back Tom Brady. I don't care. Mad? Are you kidding, senor? Now we know why and what happened. Coach is a certified liar. The organization kept him because he's a great liar. Lord doesn't want to be wrong in the hiring of Sirianni. And by the way, not my content. Whoa, Eagle fan. This ain't my content. What are you talking about? I didn't say this. I'm echoing it. This is somebody that covers your team for the last 4 decades. What are you mad at me for? You mad at me for listening to a guy who covers your team for 4 decades? What are you mad at me for? If the Eagles had Belichick, would anything change? Entire power structure would change. There'd be no Howie. By the way, I'm going to say something else about Roseman here. DFW, the Eagle fans should be at the NovaCare Center demanding Sirianni should be fired. Sirianni's about to sabotage the whole season. You mean like he did last year? Underdog, thank you, my friend. Here's something else. Because this is Marcus Hayes. Because Howie is so up the coach's ass, that's me, because he's so involved, it puts an even bigger target on him when this thing implodes. He's involved with the hiring of the coaches, the firing of the coaches, the game plan. Howie Roseman is just as much of account, and he's never taken account for that fuck up last year. And it's a prime reflection. Guess what? The Eagles are a reflection of Howie and Jalen. You know why Jalen doesn't take accountability? Howie doesn't. Still crying about that? No. See, look at Twiz here. No, you haven't addressed the issue. You think you can fix it by drafting a guy in the first round from Toledo. This is far deeper than an Iowa DB and a cornerback from Toledo. This is far deeper. Now, John McMullen brought a great comment up, and it was a perfect way to balance the seesaw. Have fans and the media and people set too high a standard in Philly? I actually think it's an asshole question, but it's a great question. Well, what standard should you set? 10-1? It's a super question by John, but it's a common sense. It's a common sense answer. No. Calvin, look at Calvin here. Put that up here. Sills, you're just a hater. Stop hating. This ain't my content. Why are you mad at me? My God almighty. I'm almost going off a transcript. And you're mad at me? For a guy that's been covering your football team for 4 decades? Why are you mad at me? I'm echoing it? Oh, yeah, okay. And? You know why I'm echoing it? Because it's validating what I said about your organization and why you're right here. Right here. You're right here. You are a frustrating organization. Gloating? What would you say? Hunter, I don't care. You think my content dictates likes? I totally don't give a shit. I ask you because this is our show. You can disagree, but you're mad at me for echoing a sports writer's column and takes this morning. Why? Why are you mad at me? LJ goes, you have no content. This is Marcus Hayes' content. This has been my content for 3 years. He just said it this morning and in a column. I don't think I've changed at all. Have I? I just took what he said today on our network and in his column and validated what I've been saying all year. Our front office is frustrating at times. It's just facts. Carl, that's the point, Carl. You're right. You're so good at what you do. And there's a lot of great things that you do. Dan, you're full of shit. How am I full of shit when this is some other guy's words? You, Dennis, you actually get, it's par for the course for people in our country today to get mad at people for sticking to their guns on something when people kept telling you that 6 feet was stupid and masks were stupid. Try to have a mind of your own. Might get you somewhere. Just a helpful hint. Or when someone has an opinion, you don't shut them down. You have dialogue like we have here. someone has a dissenting view. They're calling they're calling anarchy. Well, I have a different view on Hurts. Dan, you're taking someone else's opinions and try to make them look like they're facts. They are facts. Nick has lied. And there's no question that's how he runs the organization. I don't think there's any lies in what he's saying. And what's in his best interest to lie? And by the way, if he was lying, why haven't the Eagles taken his press credential away? They're notorious for that. They threaten me every day, and they threaten other people that I work with every day about taking their key fob away. Why haven't they taken his if he's lying? I disagree with the Jalen Carter being a bust. I do. I disagree with that. I'm not anywhere near that. But he does bring a point up. Since the Super Bowl, what have the records been since the Super Bowl? What have the records been? Doug had like a 9-win season the year after the Super Bowl. Wasn't there like a 9-win season? Then you guys, I think, went 7-9 or something like that. Then there was a 4-win season. Then Sirianni had 9. Then you had 22. Then the 23 thing. And here you are. So what was it since the Super Bowl? 4 or 6 years have been underwhelming? Making the postseason. Congratulations for doing your job. You don't get pats on the back for making the postseason. Coaches get fired who don't. Why should you get credit for making them? You want to sound like the Steelers, like Xander said? So the Steelers have lowered their bar. I happen to agree with him on that Mike Tomlin comment. I mean, are you okay with, since the Super Bowl, on how the team, they've gotten to a Super Bowl in 22, granted. How do you think the years have, do you think they've under or overachieved since Super Bowl, since they won the Super Bowl? Have the Eagles over or underachieved? What do you think? Neil says under. You guys don't want to answer that? Cosmo, underachieved. Flexing, under. Why is it Howie season then? Why is it Howie season? If you make the playoffs, the standard should be to win the whole thing. That's the bar. That's why several of those coaches have gotten fired. Lots of green lens glasses. More mofos in here. Nick is just a middleman from Howie to the locker room. Definitely under. You're supposed to have 2 Super Bowl. That's right. You're supposed, get this, with good coaching and non-meddling, you should have 2 Super Bowl championships in the last 6 years. You've let opportunity slip away at every corner. Doug, 22. Look at the 2 things that you let slip through your fingers. Doug and 22. Those are huge things, dudes. Those are huge things. Just to allow, maybe Shane Steichen. Maybe Shane. Now, Marcus Hayes is not a big fan, I don't think, of Shane Steichen. I don't think, I mean, again, and he said something, if I can remember right, it was more, I don't really get it. I'm still trying to figure that out. What do you call them? Spaghetti without sauce? But that's how I think that he connected with Hurts. He didn't make it complicated. When you have a passing offense, it's complicated. They complicated it. Hurts changed the play. It wasn't the coordinator, Brian Johnson, last year. According to Marcus Hayes, it was Hurts. I happen to think so too. You can't have everyone having success but the quarterback. What did the quarterback? The quarterback's never taken accountability or stood up for Brian. Thought it was his boy, or even his head coach he's never stood up for. He doesn't have to. Why? Because he's a reflection of the GM, not the coach. That's why. Dak Prescott's a reflection of Jerry Jones, not Mike McCarthy. Brock Purdy's a reflection of Kyle Shanahan's play calling. Jordan Love is not the reflection of Brian Gutekunst. It's Matt LaFleur. According to Sills, Jalen Hurts should have audible out of all. I didn't say any of that. According to Sills, Jalen Hurts should have audible out of all calls last year. Now listening to Marcus Hayes, Senor, he did. And it's his fault. He did majority of the time. So if you're not going on script and you're not following the game plan, who's that on? The coordinator or the quarterback? Thank you, Senor. I appreciate that. Ooh, Senor bringing some strong takes to the table. Whoa! Way to go, Senor. Way to add to the fire there. Now we know why that game plan sucked. Quarterback thought he knew better. That's what Marcus Hayes was hinting to. Both receivers got brand new shiny deals. Mulata got a brand new extension. Landon got one. Swift got a brand new $10 million deal in Chicago. Damn. Everyone had a great year with Brian Johnson. I kept asking you all that question. How come those guys all did really well to get pay raises and the quarterback blew? Because the quarterback wasn't following procedures and following the game plan. Total makes sense. That's why I didn't back him. Because those decisions were his. Because he thought in 22, when he was making those decisions off the RPO, he knew better in 23. That implosion has more to do with him than Brian Johnson. Sorry, I'm completely 1,000% on that. It's more to do with Hurts than Brian Johnson. And you can disagree with me. I don't care. Everyone had a great season because they didn't listen to Brian Johnson. Oh, so let's take that for what Senor just said. So when the coaches were putting game plans together, everyone had a great season. So when the game plan was installed on Saturday, no one followed the game plan on Sunday. Huh. Sounds like you got a really good-looking frat house going on there, kid. Wow. So they weren't listening to the coaches because they thought the coaches were better, and yet they had the 1-6 meltdown. Wasn't the coaches then. So you just exonerated the coaches. It was the players. They didn't want to listen. Is that what you're saying? Now we know. Thank you, Senor. How about this one? Let's go here with this. You think Jalen Hurts has regressed? as a player? Try to be honest. He's blown at OTAs. Oh, it's not a big deal. That's the point also. It's not supposed to be a big deal. That's not supposed to be a big deal. Des goes, no, he's still developing. He's still developing, and you gave him $50 fucking million for a still developing guy? Good night. Why? Because Howie wanted to pay him because that's his boy? So Jalen Hurts is regressing. Why? Just like everyone else that can't read defenses. It catches up like it did with Hurts or Wentz. They figure you out. That's what's happened. Get this. Guy goes, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice, games, all of it. How about this? The last 8 games. Now going through OTAs and you're hearing people say struggling in progression reading. You really believe Kellen Moore's fixing this? I'm hating on commenting on somebody in the way that they had a conversation this morning here on Birds 365. Get this. Once again, OTAs are not supposed to be a big deal. Lift weights, throw the ball around, install some shit. You're not supposed to suck. Nobody sucks at OTAs. You know what OTAs are? It's like playing Nerf football in your backyard. And here's the problem. They're overcooking all 3 of the quarterbacks. Supposedly, all 3 look terrible. Here's something else, too, that I love what Marcus said. By the way, Xander is coming on at 3:30. He was there for this interview. I thought it was great. One of the better interviews we've had on this network. Get this. I think John McMullen even brought it in. And then I think Marcus kind of accentuated it. So the only coaches that they have changed on the offensive side have been the quarterback coach and the coordinator. Is that correct? So the rest of the coaches, running back, coordinator, O-line, I'm not getting rid of Stoutland. I'm not saying that. Wide receiver, tight end. All those other coaches that are on that offensive side of the ball are all status quo. So you got 2 coaches in a building and in a room with guys who do things a certain way. You really think they're going to come out of the reservation and do shit differently than what they did a year ago? You're out of your mind. Coaches like Kellen Moore, who just got fired in Los Angeles, is not going to walk in and go, well, we're going to change the entire approach. You're basically being parachuted in to a situation that's the same as it was last January or this past January, December. You got the same guys. You really think when you hire a brand new, he's not even a boss. You hired a guy and you've got 2 dudes over here and you got 7 over here, all having their ways of doing shit in the Eagle organization. And 2 guys over here, and these 2 guys are going to contradict the way you guys do business. You really believe that? Get this. That's great, Jen. Hate that our fan base, on one hand, will say a guy looks great in OTAs like Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and those guys. But when Hurts sucks, it's not a big deal. It's standard. It's a standard way of covering for one's ass. Jen, it's human nature, actually. Sills, is it true that they're saying that Hurts is uncomfortable with Pickett there? No, I have not heard that. I'm not going down there. Okay. I have not heard any of that. I doubt it. I mean, you got 50 million. Hey, dude, when you got 50 million bucks in your bank account now and you're making 50 million, I don't care who you bring in. I mean, I got a lot of money coming my way. Sills tends to drag a point rather than necessary. What? I've brought 10 up. What are you talking about? I'm talking about your head coach. Here, let me go over him again. That's a good point. Thank you, Prince. Because it's not one fucking point, jackass. You're only hearing what you want to hear. Love you, Prince. The coach embraces insubordination. Howie's not going to let Hurts fail because he crows about that being his pick. Okay? The way the owner looks at the organization, in his opinion, the reason he kept Nick was because Nick is a great liar. Listen to the interview. By the way, that's how I heard it. Where guys been in locker rooms, talked to coaches for 30 years. Seals, they just do not like reality. And you do not kiss their ass. SIP 41, you and I have gone back and forth numerous times. That's all this is. It's how I heard that interview. You may not have heard it that way because some of you have never been in. Bro, you're just an effing troll. It's not my content. Okay? Troll? Troll what? The truth? Okay. I don't have a problem trolling the truth. Damn right. Are there any positive points, Sills, honestly? Yeah, this nightmare will be over soon. Yeah. You're never going to reach the potential of Jalen Hurts and the football team until you get an authority figure in there. Somebody that puts their foot down. Negativity, energy is real. Well, that's what usually happens when you implode like that. You guys have, like even Marcus said this to either Xander or to John. Somebody had amnesia last year. Somebody had amnesia. And what happened? I was like, that's what I say. Somebody had amnesia. And you lose Kelsey and Fletcher Cox in the process, and you're better because you drafted a guy from Houston Christian. And you got rid of Reddick. Laurie will know when to boot Nick. Chances are he already told him. kids always love the babysitter that lets them do whatever they want. That's a great, he's a substitute teacher, DFW. You see, DFW, Nick Sirianni is the substitute teacher for Doug Peterson. That's who he is. He's the substitute teacher. It's funny. Organization never in a million years ever brought the kind of talent or paid for the talent when Doug was here. They never did any of that. Why? Because they didn't have to. Because they didn't have to. You had Jim Schwartz, like I said, who was named the NFL Assistant Coach of the Year a year ago, and Doug Peterson, who's doing marvelous things in Shitsville, in an organization that does not win. Can you imagine if he was in Green Bay or LA or a place that had a culture in winning instead of Shitsville, Florida? That's right. Doug didn't want to wear knee pads. All kidding aside, 5 ways you'd personally fix this. Excellent. Hey, Furman, ask yourself the most important thing. Does the owner want to fix it? Does he enjoy being what the Eagles are, right? Hey, let me ask you, that's a great Furman. Do you think Jeffrey Lurie enjoys the current status of the Eagles? Do you think he enjoys it? Best team in the NFC East. One of the better teams in the NFC, for sure. Hey, I personally think that Marcus Hayes' assessment of Hurts is right on. Right on. You're not going to lose games because of Jalen Hurts' talent. You're going to lose games because he's not a real good quarterback. Seals, both the Eagles' Super Bowl appearances came after they ranked in the top 5 in rushing. Nick and Howie are the problem. Jalen has to be better. Agreed, Prince. Prince. Again, Prince, I want you, Prince, do me a favor. Guys, please hit the like button. Xander's going to join us in a couple minutes at the bottom of the hour here. Prince, please. Once again, you're right here. Here's my problem. Prince, you're right here. To be clear, if you don't see me a check by name, it's not me. Mark, thank you, my friend. Mark, they're trying to get you some help. Mark, they're trying to get you some help in Dallas because they don't want to get you. Hey, they're trying to get you some help, brother. Hey, Mark, just for everything here, make sure you tell everybody in Dallas, man, R.I.P. on Larry Allen, the greatest offensive lineman that ever lived. Greatest old lineman I've ever seen. And it's not close. Okay? It's not close. The people's champ, Big Sileo, no fear or favor. Make them sweat at NovaCare Complex. Philly, make them sweat? You deserve to make them sweat. They should not. Xander, you know what Xander said too, which was great? Why'd they bring him back? You know what? It's the simplest question that it's the most difficult question to answer in that building. And you know what? No one will consistently ask that simple Xander Krause question. Why'd you bring him back? What's the point of this? What's the exercise here? Being right? That's what Marcus's take is. The owner doesn't want to be wrong, like he was with Chip. This goes, Xander said something about collateral damage from Chip. I think I think it's more to do with Doug being wrong with Doug than being wrong. See, look, think about this, for instance. The last two head football coaches, the owner's been wrong. He was wrong on Chip, and he was wrong on Doug. He can't be wrong on this. You were wrong to hire him. By the way, couple 10 double-digit seasons first year. He's been wrong on three of the most important things you can do up till June 3rd right now. You ready for this? He was wrong on the extension for Wentz. He was wrong on the hiring of Chip. And he's wrong in the firing of Doug. Do you happen to think that those are critical mistakes that could be the difference between you winning 22 and not? How about this? Do you think you have stability in your organization right now? You think you have stability in the front office? Surely not in coaching. How about this? All the things that people say about the job that Nick has done in the playoffs. Why is he a conversation of debate consistently on keeping his job? He's already going into this year as one of the coaches on the hot seat. How can that be if he's so successful? Because they don't value him, except for one critical thing. He's a great liar. What else do we have here? God, there's so much more. I mean, just the fact of Hurts regressing is not being addressed enough. And you guys think Kellen Moore is going to fix that? In 3 months. In 3 months. Hey, watch this. How about this one? What if Jaden Daniels, under the direction of Brian Johnson and Cliff Kingsbury, win a division? And Cliff gets the Buffalo Bills job. Brian Johnson goes up to Buffalo, becomes the offensive coordinator up there with Cliff. Hey, you don't think that that's just by coincidence that Cliff Kingsbury hired him as his quarterback coach in D.C. That wasn't a Dan Quinn hire. That was a Cliff Kingsbury hire. He had total autonomy on his coaching staff and wanted the changes. Now we know why Kingsbury didn't get the OC gig. Because there's only 2 new coaches in the offensive side of the room. He wanted sweeping changes like he did in D.C. But Nick goes like, look at this. Brian Johnson's a bum. Stop it. Then why is Jalen changing plays? So much so the team sucked. If that guy sucked, and according to what Marcus said, that those guys were going off script, and it was just not the Seattle game, the indictment of the complete collapse is more on the players. And that his take is that's more on the players than it was on the coaches. And he actually even said, like I said, Brian Johnson never got a fair shot. Tell me this. How many people think that Sean Desai had a fair shot when he's 10-2 and had beaten all those great quarterbacks that you guys bring up? The Josh Allens, all them guys, Mahomes. You think he had a fair shot? That was some interview. That was some interview. Endorses insubordination. And why this is important, this conversation. Status quo. Remember what I told you at the end of the season? You were either going to do a course change or you were going to do status quo. What they did was they modified their plan. Mandatory mini camps. First one in the Sirianni era. Do you know what that's about? Why do you think for the first time in going into his fourth year that Sirianni has a mandatory minicamp? Why? Because he's got to somehow show some type of phony authority? It's too late. It's too late. You've already showed your hand. They know who you are. You can't put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste jar. You can't. It's out. You're saying that because he got on your neck for crazy people need to see through your hating. I'll get a translator and figure what the hell you're talking about. Hey, Sills. If Belichick is so great, why hasn't team offered him a job? Once again, Sean not knowing. Why would I take a job, Sean, when I'm making for the next 2 years $20 million a year from New England? And if I don't get everything what I want, why would I take a lesser job with lesser talent, more lifting, and I could play golf all week long, making more money than you'll pay me? Why would I do that? Why would I burn $40 million to go to work for $8 million? Why would I do that? He hasn't received a job offer. He's making $20 million a year for the next 2 years in New England. Why would I take the shitty Falcons job? For what? To go 4-13? Yeah. Hey, sign me up. He loves coaching, right? I pretty much think he loves coaching, but I think he loves those greenbacks going in on direct deposit. Venmo, Xander, Venmo. Holy cow. I'll tell you something, man. Before I bring Xander on, Gary Cobb, 4:30 Eastern, too. We're going to ask him the same shit that I'm going to ask Xander here because I can't believe what I've been listening to. I kept doing this. Oh, my God. He just killed the owner, the GM, the coach, and the quarterback within a matter of like 25 minutes. He crushed everybody, and he was doing it this way. You know, with the Siliqui way of thinking about how they run this organization, I was going like, I have to get my thesaurus up and look up some of these words that Marcus Hayes was using. Let's bring Xander in, the co-host of Birds 365. Did a great job today.
What's up, Phil?
Woo!
I knew you were going to love that. I'm listening to him. I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to be reliving this interview later on today.
Oof. Give me your quick takeaway.
I love it. I like it because it makes me think. It's like June 3rd. It's been a lot of everybody's all, excited about the things going on, excited about the draft, the signings, the OTAs. And then I get Marcus Hayes comes in out of the blue, and he's like, Howie's on the hot seat. Jalen Hurts stinks and regressed. Jeffrey Lurie's this. So I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, and I like thinking. I'm in content business, Sileo, so I can appreciate somebody that comes on, means what he says and says what he means. And whether I agree with it all or not, that's a different story. But he definitely has some good points. I got to give it to him. I mean, he's got some good, compelling points. Some stuff I think is blatantly wrong. I got to be honest. The Jalen Carter is a bust. Come on, man. Like, even that Jalen Carter. I mean, maybe he needs to be better still. He needs to improve, but Jalen Carter is not a bust. But I will say, there are some things that Howie's done that got you questioning it for sure.
How about this one? Jalen losing games will not be because of talent.
Yeah, it was good.
It's going to be because he's just not really that great a quarterback.
Well, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I mean, I think he was a good quarterback in 22 and went to the Super Bowl. I think he was not a good quarterback down the stretch last year, which is why any great quarterback should be able to turn around a 1-7 stretch. I don't care how bad of a team you are, right? So I think last year, Jalen Hurts wasn't a good quarterback. And that's where I pointed to Marcus being correct, where if Jalen Hurts is not going to have a bounce back year, that's going to put a big bullseye on Howie's back, because how are you going to pay $175 million to an offense? You're going to give him a new coordinator because you scapegoated the last one, and he's not going to perform for a second straight year. That's alarming. Now, I don't think we're going to get to that point, but we certainly are close.
How about when he said that Nick Sirianni embraces insubordination? That when players, it was more the players going off script that the coaches and Brian Johnson and those guys were putting a game plan together, and that the players were improvisating out there and they were going off script. And he said this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Xander, he said it wasn't just the Seattle instance. It was Jets. It was other
there was
places
multiple
where they went off script. And am I right when I took this? I took it as he said he blamed more of the players' accountability down that stretch than he did coaching.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what we've been talking about in just our couple interviews, where to me, it feels like Nick is kind of not the adult on the sideline. And Marcus used that analogy this morning, and I thought that was right on. It's like a parent who hasn't disciplined their kids. Like, they're just kind of doing whatever they want out there. And I wonder if part of that's just the lack of respect that they have for him as a coach, the coordinators, the whole 9 yards. And that's where, I'm much higher on this team than you are, or even Marcus Hayes is. But the coaching staff is the one thing I'm struggling with. Nick Sirianni specifically is the one guy I'm struggling with. And I asked Marcus, I'm like, why the hell did they keep this dude? I mean, everything you said is everything Marcus said about Nick Sirianni, I thought was accurate. You don't have to agree with it, but it was accurate. It was true. So that's my question of lot. And then his response was great. It's because the owner doesn't want to be wrong. I don't think it has anything to do with football.
Don't you agree that the biggest mistake since your Super Bowl, and by the way, I got to give it to Marcus for having such a high bar too,
Wait,
Xander.
Let me fix my camera, Sileo. 1 second.
All right.
I don't know what's going on.
He had such a high bar because he was going from the Super Bowl, and he was looking at it, and he was saying this, Xander, since the Super Bowl, I mean, for the last 6 seasons have been underwhelming. And
I don't agree with that, though.
Yeah, but wait, you brought the thing up about the Steelers now just making it to the postseason is like a deal. So let me add on.
We are coming off a Super Bowl. We did go back to the Super Bowl.
Let me add on to it, though. Are the expectations too high?
Yeah, and that's John's point. Like, John said that to him. He's like, well, they did kind of make the playoffs like all of those years, which they did, besides the 4-win season, which was the last season of Doug's tenure. But we won a Super Bowl. We went to a Super Bowl. We went back to it. We won a Super Bowl. We went back to a Super Bowl. Like, we're not the Steelers. So I agree. You're right. We need to have high expectations, but I do think part of that is where Marcus is saying, like, they've underachieved, and maybe they have by Lurie standards. They might have. And one of the things I think another reason I think that Howie isn't going anywhere, regardless of what Marcus Hayes writes or what you think or what anybody said. I think, and I asked him the question, and he I don't want to say brushed it off, but he said he didn't think that was the reason.